Hey everybody, it is Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I got called out to work tonight. I was kind of messing around today. I didn't have anything really going on. And then one of my employees had an issue, so I'm going to be going to work. So I ran down here to make a video because I'm trying really hard to make one every day. This is just a piece of cardboard inside of a plastic Pringles lid that I've cut out. I think it was Pringles. Maybe it was breadcrumbs. No, it was baking powder. But anything you have, you can make a base out of. And I just have this here, and I'm going to... snip some of that crap off so it doesn't stick up. And then I'm going to use this for my base. So to get a basic, interesting shape, by the way, I'm making a vessel, like a flying vessel. To get a basic little bit of inspiration, not inspiration, I can't even do English. To get a little bit of interest on my base, I'm just going to cut a couple pieces of this and glue those on. Half-ass. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think I ate too much sugar. I had like an 8-pack of Nutter Butter cookies, and it might have been a bit much for me. So I want to get in the middle of this base here. I want to get a flight stand on there. So for a flight stand for this, because it's a fairly light project, I'm going to use this stick here. And I'm going to cut, where's my snippers? Snippers are lost. I'm going to cut some of this off. And I'm going to have something that coming up as like a sail on my build. So I'm going to get this here, okay? I'm going to get that twisted on there pretty good and in place to hold in the center of my base the best I can. As straight up and down as I can. Then I'm going to reinforce this with some garbage. And for that garbage, I'm just going to use some cardboard. And I'm going to rip this off to make it look corrugated-ish. Like that. Just like that. And I'm just going to kind of get that on here, and it's gonna give it the illusion of stacked up garbage without doing too much effort to make real stacked up garbage. And that's just gonna sturdy this up, and I'm just gonna do it in some different pieces and shapes. Okay. Using thicker snippers. This one's kind of warped and flat and ruined. Some of these skewers come out like that, and that's okay because it'll work good for what I want it to work for at this point. So I want to fill this in with different crap to kind of sturdy things up here. Let's make a piece of like girder. Like an I-beam. Alright, I kind of have an idea how I want that to sit. I'm going to snip that. Get it in place pretty good. Okay, get that under there if I can. There we go. Let's set that up. And let's just shove that in there a little more gooder. And we'll use this as a pretty sturdy looking base. I think it'll work. There's some weird edging here I don't like. So I'm just going to get my glue, run it along there, and fill any of that in that I don't like. I might not like all of it, actually, as I'm looking at it. That's okay. That's what's nice about doing like scrapland kind of stuff. You don't have to have that perfect edge to match the rest of your D&D stuff. You can just have scrappy, crappy, garbage edges. I'm going to get that there. Put a stick in that. Oh! Another stick in that. Another stick in that. It's burning me. Okay. And that's my flight stand. And I think that's going to be sturdy and do what I need it to. Just to make sure I don't have any wisps or anything sticking off. Any weird parts I don't like. Just going to melt stuff quickly in place. Get rid of any weirdness I don't care for. Okay, cool. I'm setting this off to the side. And so let's talk about the build itself. I've found this piece. I have a bunch of these. I got them at one of those everything goes down by a buck at a time a while ago during the summer. And I have these. And I thought it would be cool to make it to where 2 bad guys can fly on this thing. And so they're going to do that. My 2 bad guys are going to ride on it by having these bases glued on. And I'm just taking those little number 7 slots. I'm just centering these on here the best I can. That's going to be where the bad guys sit, right there like that. And then this flight stand is going to come up through this middle part here. And I'm going to have a sail on this of some sort, okay? That's my plan. So this is kind of boring and uninteresting. So what I want to do is I want to get some like thrusters on here. So to make some thrusters, I'm just going to use some I don't want this to ever open up again, so something like that. And I'm just going to use this natural shape to kind of hold it in place. Okay, just like that. Bend it over a little bit. Cool, 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 cool. Same kind of deal there. Kind of even, looking good. Get in here and reinforce that a little bit. Sweet. Nice, nice, nice. Now, this is like an enemy thing. They're flying around hunting the party with. Most likely, we need a cannon of some sort. So there's tons of ways you can make a cannon. Plastic guns and toys are really good for that kind of stuff. You can build them. I'm going to look and see what I got laying around real quick. Spleen. Screws and nails and stuff are good too if you have a way to paint them. Sometimes that's hard to do. Well, I had some guns laying around. Let me see what I got in this box. I'll be right back. Okay, here's what I found. This is some kind of it's like toy missile that would fire off of something. And I'm going to mount it down here as kind of a gun on the front. Just like that. Try to get it centered the best I can. I'll reinforce it a little bit. Okay, so that doesn't come loose. And then that looks really ugly. So check out my plan. I'm going to curve this. Okay. We'll get some glue here and here. Just like that. And I'm going to get that up to the edges. Let that cool in place. I'm going to snip off okay. Something like that. I want this to look kind of interesting going across here, not so boring. Curve this a little bit. I'm gonna make a line going across right there, just like that. Hold that down there. There we go. Something like that. Okay. Now, this is not looking as impending or scary as we want it to immediately. So let's add something else. I need more gun pieces. Straws are good for that. Let me see what I got in the way of straws. Can't find any straws. I had a half a pack down here the other day. They're gone. Looking for straws in all the wrong places. Where the hell are the straws? Alright, here's some straws. Sweet. Okay, so let's make a missile tube on the front here for our straw. So what we want to do is we can find anything we can fit in the hole of that to make that a little sturdier. So I'm just going to get some glue, just like that. I'm going to let that cool. It's super hot. And that should become sturdy. I'm going to get a piece of something to stick in the end. So I'm just going to use, oh, I got a missile right here, dudes. Oops, I just smushed my straw. Let's get my missile in there. And I want to shove this so that it's kind of like centered in there. So there's a gap on all sides around it. Like that. Okay. And then I want this to sit up a little bit so it's not like directly opposite of that. So to do that, I'm just going to get a piece of cardboard. Like that. Like that. I'm going to smush that flat. Let me get a dab of glue in there, just to kind of hold it down, really. Okay. I want to get that kind of on the front as square as I can. Ow. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's going to work. Alright, so I want this to sit on top of here. This isn't cool all the way just yet, but it will be. Okay. So now we have that missile launcher on there. We need to pimp that a little bit. So to make that look a little cleaner, I'm just going to hit it with this piece here. Just shore that up. Just like that. And just like that. And those will come down here on the bottom and meet up. We'll snip them. I didn't get any glue in here. Okay. Hold on one second. Hey. Okay. So I think what we have there will work for what we want it to work for. Let's get it on our flight stand. and start working on the sail. And as I said, to get it on the flight stand, I just want to shove it through there, just like that. I'm going to tilt it forward a tiny bit. Get some glue on there to hold it in place permanently, just like that. And now let's work on our sail. Now you can make your sail out of anything. I'm going to make mine out of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a corner here, like this, and kind of measure it to fit on there. That's way bigger than I wanted. So let's snip that down. Oh, I just realized that's going to get right in where the dude sits. That's a terrible spot for that sail to sit that way. Okay, no plan for that. I had no plan at all. Okay, no problem. Too easy. I am, however, wanting to do something with that. I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay. Now my construct looks a little too plain because I thought that sail was going to look sick, and now it's not there. So I need to add something to make this have a sail. So I think the answer is to put it on the front here, like that. And even though I didn't want to come back up here and do anything, it's not necessarily going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this here. Let me get a bead. I lost all my beads. Hold on. There we go. Now I'll get a bead, and that's going to give me some more surface area for this to stick. It's just going to make it a little sturdier. I'm going to get a bead there. Then I'd like this bead to be a little cooler. I have some different beads in this box that might help. So I have this shape here, maybe. Throw one of those on there. If it fits. No, it doesn't fit. Does one of these fit? Yeah, it fits, but snugly. Okay, that's not going to happen. What about skull bead? Yep, that'll fit. All right, let's get a skull bead on there. And to mount my skull bead, I'm just going to get a little bit of glue, twist this around, lock that in. And then I'm going to get my sail on. High above a miniature's head. I'd like it to be longer, actually. So to do that, that should sit easily above a mini's head. There goes my glue gun, of course. Okay. I'm just getting a little run of glue there like that. Same thing on that side, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And I want to mount that on there, so this has to be flush on the back. No problem. I'm leaving that on here for now. And you're probably thinking, why a sail? You know, of all the other means of steering. Well, because my world's fantastical. It's a fantastical future, and I want it to feel different than everything else you've seen. And we've been talking a lot about Treasure Planet at the table. So I thought that might be cool to do that. I'm going to throw one more bead on top. I'm just going to use this little plastic bead here. I'm going to set it in place, let it cool, and I'll fill that up. Okay. Now this should be pretty sturdy. I'm going to snip that off. And now we have something to paint. Getting spider webs dealt with. There aren't a whole lot of spider webs, believe it or not. Pardon me. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of reinforced work before I base coat this. And I don't need a whole lot, but I just want to get some glue in here so that stuff doesn't come loose. That's all I'm doing. You can use a piece of cardstock or whatever you have to do this application. So I'm going to get it, I'm going to smear it around and get it in all the joints and cracks and crevices that I need it to be in so that I feel like my construct's going to be safe, my build's going to be safe. I'm going to use a little bit of that secret capillary action to get it down underneath there. Okay, this is coming loose. I want it to be sturdy. Okay. It's a lot more glue than I wanted to use here. I'm going to play with it a little bit, get it kind of mounted in there and stuck on all sides because I can have a good bond. I don't want that popping off on me. Okay, let's let that cool. Back in place. Whoa, come on, you. All right, we're going to get that in place one more time. It's going to keep moving. Get it in place. We'll sprinkle some of this baking soda on there, and that'll help make it more permanent. They sell a product, I don't have any, that kind of auto dries your super glue for you. It's like an instant activator kind of product. Okay. There's my super glue. I'm going to get a little bit more gunk on here to hold stuff in place. While we're at it, might as well. Okay. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. Now, I still haven't gone and bought good paint. So I'm going to use semi-gloss for this base coat. I'm just going to put a dab of glue here. Set my base on there for now. Let that dry. They're cool and solidify. And then I'm going to come back and we'll paint this thing up in a few minutes. I'm going to spray paint it black first. Okay? See you guys in a minute. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, and all that jazz. And I'll see you in a few minutes with part 2.